Sure, my name is Heath Hill. I'm from Rowlett, Texas. We own an advertising company that we service major brands all over the U.S. The part that drew me to specifically Liberia is it's kind of the worst of the worst. It's what the Bible talks about, the least of these and the outermost edges. And I love that part because I felt like God would really have to show up if He was in it. So I bought into the vision, and then God began to bring new partners and new people as I engaged with the country of Liberia. One of those was Eric. Met him through a crazy set of circumstances that we'll get into a little later in this. But really, that's my introduction to Liberia. I've been a handful of times involved in a handful of organizations that I believe heavily in. I think it's just given me the dose of reality in the sense of I just happened to be born in Dallas, Texas. I just happened to be born with loving parents, happened to be given opportunity. And I think I felt that everybody was given opportunity. When you go to Liberia, you realize that that's just not the case, that there is no opportunity, there is no hope. What gospel they have is very limited. And so when the opportunity presented itself to get a bigger yield on return, and what I mean by that is, it seems like any dollar I sow into Liberia, I see 100-time return on it. I see tremendous fruit on anything that we put our hand to, and it's just given me that perspective. I've got my kids involved, my wife's involved, my friends are involved, I've got some business associates involved. We've built kind of community over here in America that's really trying to serve community over there, and to know that that can be done by American standards for pennies on the dollar. It's just crazy, and it's been a cool journey and one that's always changing and evolving. In Liberia, we were overwhelmed by the quality of people and creating kind of a system to give a hand up, not a handout. And I think we as Americans, it's hard to process that if we can create an opportunity, that they'll work. It's not a matter of work ethic or even knowledge. They have knowledge and they have the ability to learn. They just have no opportunity. There's been no baseline education. There's been no baseline hygiene, no baseline water. There is no normal over there. So as far as the leadership, I've been blown away at the caliber of staff. Everything from the lady who was the masonry, who learned a trade and really provided for her family and just did it with a smile on her face, is absolutely overwhelming, to the guy that's running the school and the teacher in the classroom. Absolutely blown away. As far as an organization, I've spent a lot of time with Eric, and what I would tell you is somebody who's spent a lot of time with him, I think sometimes God's moving so fast in his life that he doesn't get to slow down and really see kind of what God's doing in his life. And I'm into this guy, Eric, talking about his vision and sharing his testimony. Went up afterwards and said, man, you need to come to Dallas, not having a clue what he was doing or where he was going. And Eric called his support staff in Louisiana and shared that, and they did what most Americans and logical people would do and said, that makes absolutely no sense. You need to come back home. We're not going to give you money to do that. And so Eric took what little money he had in his pocket and found a way to get to Dallas on just faith. And through that one encounter, meeting, thousands of kids' lives have been changed and altered, and even us, as I get uh, just choked up thinking about it. Just with perseverance, passion, and faith, uh, be able to do stuff that we couldn't do on our best day, and that was all. He came with empty pockets to Rockwall. I remember that day I sold a generator. We never get cash in my business. This was a freak deal. I happened to get some cash, and we're buying a generator the next day. That night I had met Eric, enjoyed his testimony, loved getting to know. It didn't make logical sense. I liked Eric, but I didn't love him. So last thing I wanted to do was give money away that I was already committed to doing something else with. But I did that, blind faith and just a little bit of obedience, just to find out 6 months later that Eric didn't even have money to get back to Louisiana. So sorry. That's one story, and I could give you 100. He doesn't take a salary, which I still don't understand that. A few guys here and there give him $100 to live on. We saw him in Liberia as people begin to just give money. He won't keep it. He thinks it's funny. He just says, I'm a bridge. You'll hear him say that. In America, he doesn't know we can't process that. He doesn't understand that we don't understand that. And you've got to be careful with Eric, because what you mean to give to him, he just sows into somebody else. So if you got a problem with that, he's not going to be the right guy for you, because he doesn't understand what a savings account is, and I've tried to share that with him. But it just speaks to the integrity and quality, and everybody that operates with him is very like-minded. And so I can't say enough good things about the actual leadership and the quality in which any seed has been sown as far as those guys go. Whether you're being asked to sponsor a teacher, that isn't something you really need to go spend a lot of time in prayer about. If you can afford $80 by making a sacrifice and giving life to not only that teacher and their family, but the 30 to 50 students that they're going to mentor and speak into and educate over that 30 days, there are many investments that can do that. If you could buy a school tomorrow and write a check, for a $30,000 building or a $250,000 building, there's nothing in America's standards that equates with the investment versus the return. And that's the part from a business perspective that I just can't get over. I can't get over the fact of how far our dollar in America goes over there, and how aggressive people are to take that dollar and then really see a yield on return. I feel like there's a mom somewhere in the bush, praying, God, won't you send water? Won't you send medicine? Won't you send education? Won't you send hope? And God's looking down at America saying, Bill, John, Sally, Martha, won't you go? Won't you send something? And for some reason, whether it's security, the unknown, we reserved. We want to keep it neat and in a box. And challenge you, I'd encourage you to take a step out. Whether that's getting involved with helping a teacher, or whether that's putting a building on the ground, or investing in Eric and his leadership staff, or using some of your God-given abilities to help Change Agent Network to. I'd like to close with, there's nothing like drinking the Kool-Aid until you go over there and do it. You'll never have the experience until your feet hit the But when you see the people firsthand, uh, there's no experience like it. There's some more purpose to all of our lives, going from that success to significance. So I'd ask you, what are you sowing into? What are you doing? What legacy are you leaving? Any time and money I've sown into Liberia thus far, I've gotten a great return on investment. I can't wait to see what God has to say about all that one day, because it's been a pretty cool ride. I appreciate your time.